Yeah, you know.
Shot. All right, here we go. Boom. Hi from Identiverse. Look at this. A
Bum,
reunion.
bum, bum. I can't believe that last presentation. Actually, it was kind of ridiculous. I only watched half of it.
It's kind of shoddy. Yeah, I only watched like 10 minutes of it. It was I don't know what guy they got to come and do that. It was just I was like, this schmuck.
He
Uh,
was well dressed. He was more well dressed than you were, though.
right.
So
Of course, I mean, he had to be. He was presenting, right? And now look. You're just lucky that I've got a shirt on today, right? It's just it's quarantine.
Oh, we don't need that mental image. Thank you very much. So,
Uh,
what are you looking forward to with Identiverse? Did you see anything particular that caught your mind?
um,
Caught your,
most of the stuff that I'm looking at was not this week. Although I wanted to see Birds Talk and I missed it because I just was all over the place, so I didn't get to it. I do want to see Ian's. So
yeah.
he's doing a talk. His talks are always good, but just kind of around what is it called? It's not the state of identity. It's something
The
around
next 10 years.
Yeah.
Bum, bum, bum.
Right. Yeah. So I'm really interested to see that. And definitely I will probably do the same thing again like this, kind of go live after that, because I would love people to kind of just jump in and talk to people, get their opinions on that. I've been asked that question a lot lately, just like, where do you see identity going? I feel like it's not that it's gotten stale, but it's hit this plateau, right? And so usually in the world of tech, you hit a plateau and then you see some kind of innovation or disruption or whatever. And so I wonder where we are in the curve. I think we could definitely say it's a plateau, but I wonder if we're getting ready to see like a shift or something. So,
well, we'll see what Ian says, and it's okay if he's wrong. But no, I think with the pandemic, especially, it's accelerated things that are already happening. Like in terms of everyone has a mobile device, and not to be that guy, but I think the day is approaching really dang quick when I don't want to manage. I want to have one identity that I use everywhere, but not give away everywhere.
right.
Like I want to be my own IDP, but that's me speaking as a tech guy right now. But if everyone has a phone though, and ease of use works, that's a huge if. I think we're going to see that shift where like Workday has verifiable credentials now for their decentralized identity. Yeah, so they've got an app. They can consume them. They can issue them. And so along with all the digital ID from governments, like I think it's going to move in that direction, because then other countries are doing it. The US is not, but they've got like 8 different incubator things going on to like proof of concept drive this stuff. So I don't know. I'm just saying. So I don't think we're there yet, but I think in like 5 years, it's going to be flipped a bit.
Interesting.
That's my hot take.
That's your hot take?
That's right.
5 years? I don't, I think. I can't. I don't have good ground arguments to go up against.
That's okay. It never stopped us before.
It really hasn't. So I just really think it's going to be sooner than 5 years. I really feel like it's like this. Unfortunately, like the pandemic is accelerated a lot of stuff in how we think about something now, right? Because we need to be able to get access to people, just kind of everywhere, right? And so I think this will accelerate the whole what was, zero trust and beyond corp and all that stuff, whatever. To start really looking at that, it's like, all right, we got to be able to, kind of do this better, because we can't just rely on people being centrally like in the network. And so I think already we were starting to look at it, and I don't know about like the decentralized identity. Like I think that's going to take a while for people to wrap their brains around, because it's too much.
I don't think they'll know it. I think that if you do it right, think of like Face ID on phones, ignoring the privacy concerns for a moment. Like if you make it really, really easy to use and built into the default operation, they're not going to know, hey, I'm using decentralized identity. And they're going to say, I've got my wallet on my phone. Let me use my ID or my credential, if that makes sense, right? It's not going to be, they're not going to have to think about it or know any tech is the idea. Make it more simple, like a password manager, except better. I mean, I like the Face ID example best because no one thinks, right? I don't go, okay, now I'm going to use Face ID, and
Right.
you just pick your phone up. Like that is what you need to go into. So, I mean, and the more you hide the technology, the better off you're going to be.
Right. Well, okay, so this, I'm going to go with that. I'm going to take that. It's interesting, especially like the Face ID, because what's interesting to me, so it's with Face ID, you authenticate to the phone, you can authenticate to the different apps. What I'm really surprised that it didn't take the next step is that once you authenticate to your phone and Face ID, like, why not have the actual chipset of the phone handle the authentication for their apps? Like, each app still has to provide the authentication in on the phone, right? And so you get some more that seamless of, okay, I've authenticated. Now it does make the device a lot more trusted, right? So now you're just like, okay, well, if somebody spoofs that and kind of gets into the device, you can now kind of get to the rest of the apps. But I feel like we can multi-factor our way into there, right? There's so many different factors you can get from the phone with the accelerometer, like how they're using all that stuff, whatever, that you can use to strengthen the authentication. But have the phone and that secure chip that already handle that, and then API back out to the rest of the applications. So now your applications don't have to really worry about it. But
well, I would argue that the phone is already so much a part of your identity anyway. That's immaterial.
This is
right.
True.
You have the phone, you have the SIM, you have someone's identity at this point. So at least on some level. So it doesn't really bother me that much. And that ubiquity had to exist before you can do things like what you're talking about. You know what I mean? You can't have everyone has to have, ability to go to Home Depot or whatever and make a spare key. Otherwise keys just aren't going to work physically, same kind of analogy.
Yeah. So I'm looking here. Some responses from the session. As always, I talk way too fast.
That's normal. That's just you.
I forget about it. Every time I go and get ready to present something, I tell myself to focus on it, and then I get comfortable, and then it's over.
Oh yeah, because it's I mean, you gotta. Part of it is feeling. I have a friend who is a public speaker, and he's the best person ever at taking these dramatic pauses. and it does a lot better than that. It's a lot better. And you're just like, and you feel like he's so deep, even if he's not, because his pauses are just phenomenal. But yeah, I have the same problem. Like, I was at my mom's house this weekend and constantly having to be like, yeah, so what I said was drive me crazy. I was like, I can't sacrifice my art.
Right? It's just well, the thing is, it's like I try my best to get comfortable so that way people feel like it's literally just a conversation. We're just hanging out and we're talking. And so when I do that, though, my normal speed is to talk fast, right? So if I'm not doing that, then I'm more focused on this is a presentation. So then I'll talk slower, and then the natural just kind of quips and stuff that I do won't come out because I'm so focused on it. But it is something definitely I still want to keep working on. But the other thing is, apparently there's talks of a new of kind of revving up the Skim 2.0 working group. There's talks floating around of making some changes there, which would be interesting and kind of good. Like, one of the things I was researching for this presentation on Skim is that there aren't a whole lot of people outside of vendors kind of talking about, oh, look, we got a special guest coming in. Let's welcome Paul.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, buddy.
Hey, Paul.
Hey.
Welcome to
Paul's got a whiteboard.
It took a little bit of searching to find this. You had to send me to a Twitter link, and I had to go look at your Twitter feed, and it was like the third link down, and then that was not even the studio, so I could join you.
Sorry, man.
No problem.
I'll make it easier. Like, so this is literally half baked. I thought about this as my session was coming up. I was like, it would be really cool just to kind of give some of that conference feel. Like, you go to a conference, you get something, and then you get together and you talk about it. So I was like, hey, we can still do that. So I I will, as I try and do this more often throughout the next 8 weeks, I'll be a little bit more organized.
Awesome. Yeah, that whole 8 weeks thing is quite the thing to my schedule. I need to figure out how I can push people off for important meetings and be like, no, I really got something super important I have to do instead.
Right. Yeah, I was interested when they made that announcement they were gonna string out that far, but I don't know. At the same time, I think it's kind of cool. It'll help get hopefully get more people who are interested in it, like time to kind of pick something and do it. I don't. We're all learning, man. Like this year. I don't know about everybody else. I'm just ready to throw this year away. Like, okay, well.
Yeah, this year needs to finish already, but we're only halfway done. So.
But yeah, so Paul, looking at the agenda, what are some of the things you're looking forward to checking out?
Well, Ian's talk tomorrow is always going to be interesting. Like it's hard to keep on top of all the changes that are going on without actually attending conferences and stuff. And since this year has basically been a pause, I feel like I'm 6 months behind on what I would normally kind of know what's up and coming. So that's a big one. And then aside from that, I'm a big proponent of like identity management in general. So anything that makes synchronizing easier. So Skim is a big one. Although like I mentioned in another chat, I'm having some difficulty pushing anything to do with Skim where I currently am, but that could change. Yeah. It's Skim. I still feel maybe not just me, but some people in my organization as well. But I also still feel like Skim is still just out of the proof of concept stage. I don't know many people that have implemented it, at least not professionally or widespread yet.
Right.
So it's not quite there yet. However, it was the same slow adoption when OAuth came out. It took probably about a year or two before people really cared about it, and even longer before you got production implementations. I feel Skim is going to be the same thing as long as we can keep pressuring and try to make those benefits obvious.
Yeah, and I think one of the things. So when I was researching, getting ready for that presentation, what I found interesting is that all of the vendors are all over it because it makes their job easier. And now that I'm not associated one, I feel much more comfortable being able to talk about it. But like literally, it's a vendor thing. If you go Google Skim right now, you'll see stuff from Okta, OneLogin, like all these vendors, and they're talking about how great it is, and it benefits them. And I'm not knocking them for it. That's great. But to the other side, like you don't see a whole lot of like the other implementation for it, right? So it's the vendors who are implementing the connectors or what they have for it, and they're using that to connect to different applications. But you're not seeing a whole lot of drive on the other side. And I think that's the part. To your point, Paul, I think that hopefully that will start to kind of pick up. And I think the other thing is when I listed when I at the end I talked about the resources got on simplecloud.info. You've got some GitHub repositories. I think we probably really need some more, kind of like a better like example framework out there, or an SDK that people can go download. It's like, look, here it is. It's been vetted. It's been tested or whatever. And make that easier, because right now you've got to kind of got some stuff, and every organization is going to be different, right? Whether or not they like open source or trust open source or like how they did it. And I won't say that it's trivial to stand up the Skim server SDK like it's created on your own. At companies past, I had a team and we did it, and it took probably about 2 months or whatever. But like it's still a lot of heavy work. If you go to somebody and say, "Oh, yeah, you can do it," but you got to do all this stuff first. That's kind of.
When you say Skim server, though, are you talking about a particular server or a particular product, or because Skim's just the framework, right?
Yeah, sorry. So Skim's just the framework, but to be able to create like a server that you can put in front of an application, right? So say I've got my app, it's got my users, things of that nature, and so what I want to do is make a server that sits in front of that and maps to the endpoints, and then I can connect that to whatever the app does. So that way, whatever I'm connected to, I can share out via Skim. Right, so you can actually create a server based on that specification and go and do that. And so you can get your endpoints like resource type, schema config, all this stuff, whatever. So you can make it into your app, but most application owners wouldn't want to do that, because then you got to go tell your app, hey, go change a lot about your architecture and go implement this. Or you can just kind of put kind of a small server in front of it and go, okay, well, we're going to map all that stuff in front of it, and then we'll just map to the back end. So, there's still that point too, right? It's like the applications, if they didn't implement it, it's like, okay, well, now you got to tell these applications, hey, go change everything and implement this stuff. Well, most of them aren't going to do that, but you can put up like just these little servers in front of it, or one big server in front of it, and then you can map back that way. In fact, Aquera, that's exactly what they do. Like they built like a giant, it's not just all skim, but they built like this giant kind of connector, and most of it's skim, to where you just connect to that and it tells it, you tell it which application you want to talk to. It does all the mapping and handles it back. So there's still a long way to go. I just think it's the problem we've been trying to solve in identity for a long time. It's like I got to talk to all these applications, and every application is going to do it differently. And so the more we can kind of get to standards, the better. So hopefully we'll see a better adoption.
Absolutely. I mean, it's still a wild, wild west when it comes to identity management and identity synchronization and transfer and all that. Like I remember when, oh goodness, I forgot what it was called. There was like a predecessor to Skim, XML based.
SPML.
Spimmel. Yeah, exactly. I remember when Spimmel came out and everyone was saying, "Oh, how great it's going to be," and it was. I implemented it once or twice, and it was not great. Yeah.
I can hear Ian Glazer screaming right now. Yeah, SPML was. Oh man, it was an effort, right? It was an effort. Same thing, trying to standardize, but yeah, like XML based was it's just heavy and cumbersome. Right. But at the time, you couldn't, we were all convinced like that XML was a thing. So
well, and it was coming off of Zacamol too.
Yeah.
Which another road that was
Zacamol's another one. I actually spent a little while, maybe 6 months ago, trying to find a good access language, a policy language. And there's basically only Zacamol. I think there's goodness, I forgot the name. There's another like similar language that exists, but it's all based on that one vendor. They own it. And
I was gonna say it's all a lot of the alternatives were proprietary, and that's why Zacamol came about. It was 06, 07, and I thought security policy they could express it and just have everyone, but no one wanted to write. To
so what we ended up doing internally is we actually created our own policy grammar that we use in our apps. That's JSON based and like pretty simple, but it's not standard because we didn't want to use Zacamol for all the baggage that I was carrying, and there was no alternative.
You know what? But what's interesting too? Like that problem's still there, right? So as much as we're focused on not saying that we should be like identity management and synchronize it and manage and all that, like the whole authorization landscape, like we have just kind of like ignored and like, oh, okay, well, like as we get all of this, like let's say the next 2 years, 3 years, right? We figure it out and everything's synchronized, everything works. We can manage all the apps. So that's great. And now we start to get into like, we really want to get these deeper authorization rules and really understand like how we're allowing people to access. And if we really look at, Beyond Corp and that whole model, like you got to be able to know who a user is and deeply be able to authorize them at any given time. Like, how are you going to do that across all your applications? Like that is something that it's like, we got so much stuff that we got to get in front of it. I'm kind of looking and I'm like, we better start figuring that out like really quickly.
And don't forget with authorization, there's like coarse-grained authorization, which is still challenging, and then fine-grained authorization, which is like, how do you tell the application to read these rules in real time and then apply it to the user so that he can see or not see a certain widget on the screen? And that's the big challenge that I still haven't found a good way around.
And they're working on standards to develop some of this stuff. There was a thing that came out of the Internet Identity Workshop, which was turned into called CAPE, and basically it's now part of OpenID working group. But basically, it's sending event notifications when attributes or key elements change that should change the session and the fine grain off. Anyway, but I'll let y'all chew on that. I go feed my kids lunch because I'm soloing today, so as one does. Anyway, thanks for talking, you guys. Carry on. When you figure things out, you just call me, okay? Y'all let me know.
All our identity problems. I got another 5 minutes, so I can go around.
Cool. Yeah, and then this is totally just. I'm just kind of put the word out and have people jump in, just having conversations. I think this is always cool. Like this is the best part of the conference, right?
Absolutely. And this is the part I miss the most, and like going out for beers afterwards and all that. So we do what we can.
Man, this is gonna be in Denver too. I was so excited when
I know I had everything booked, like plane tickets, conference tickets, hotel, and slowly getting the refunds.
Yeah, man. I was so hopefully, Andy, if you're listening, we should just next year, let's just re-up, just do it in Denver. Like, don't pick another place, because I just think that Denver's just awesome. I've only been like a couple of times and hung out a little bit, but I just keep hearing from people that live there how awesome it is. And I think, summertime, I mean, this would have been perfect, but obviously, it is what it is. But yeah, so I think Mike, as he kind of drops that grenade and takes off. But the kick thing is interesting, because I remember hearing about that, right? Basically having the IDP, stay updated and as attributes change to whatever else is coming in. So I think that's to be interesting. Is this Mr. Lombard? It is.
Oh, a blast from my past. We worked together a few times, me and JF.
Hi guys, how are you?
Doing good, man. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Thanks for your presentation and to still pushing scheme.
Yeah, man.
That's appreciating to see that this is not dead.
No, it's not dead. Like, we're just actually talking. Paul and I were just kind of talking about that. Like, I think the problem is like it's most of the vendors are the ones that are pushing it, right? Mm-hmm. And it hasn't picked up steam like on the application developer side and things of that nature. And that's kind of why I wanted to do that presentation and kind of geared a little bit towards them of what you can do with it and some of the things you can use it for. So hopefully we can get some of that.
Yeah, and like I was saying, like OAuth took a long time to get adopted by enterprises, and I think Skim is going to follow that same path. I guess Skim came around the same time as OAuth. Like, I don't remember the etymology of it, but it's still kind of around the same time.
I can't remember.
But it's a harder problem, right? Because identity systems tend to be on 10-year life cycles at most companies. So they don't even want to talk to you about changing anything around their employee synchronization or inbound, outbound scenarios until that they're ready to switch vendors or refresh the machines. So that's coming now. I'm sure that's going to start coming, and it's the right time to start trying to get some people into it.
Yeah, definitely. Jeff, how are you, man?
Oh, good. I'm not so much involved into identity than the cybersecurity from floor to roof. So that's a little bit of a challenge. But from what a question I got for you on Skim was, is there any interest in like joining the token introspection of OAuth and the Skim part, because both are related to getting more information about the subject and the tokens that may be related to it. So as Paul said, OAuth is getting a lot of traction, and that I think this is it, at least for us.
I think that's I didn't even think about that, JF. That's so like linking up a Skim and the user info endpoint so that they could be compatible. Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So there's nothing there now. There is. So I was looking at the so it's in the ID Pro Slack channel. So if everybody that's watching that's not a part of ID Pro, you don't know what that is. It's ID Pro. So it's an organization for identity professionals. You should join it for the Slack channel alone. Like, if you do nothing else, like the Slack, I'm just, and this is not like a shame. Like, literally in the Slack channel, it's just. I will go through sometimes and just jump in different channels. I mean, everything from like OAuth to, identity management, access management. Like, it's just, you got people from around the world, like, talking through this stuff and going through it. Like, I get so much information out of that alone. But Heather Flanagan was saying that there's some talks of them kind of, re-upping some of the Skim talks again to make some updates. So I wasn't aware that. I'm gonna connect with her and see what's going on, and see as they start kind of if they start getting the groups together and talking about it. That's one of the things that we could possibly bring up, because that is a good point, right? Like, I think there's a couple. I think if we do anything if we make updates to Skim with what's going on with OIDC, which now just got like the little CAPE framework and having the IDP doing updates, like I think there's a chance to get some synergies there. Now, granted, I'm saying that I'm a novice, right? I don't do a whole lot when it comes to like, working groups and stuff like that. I'm usually just waiting for all the smart people to figure it out, and then I go use it. But now that I've got a little bit more time available, I might get involved in that and kind of help maybe make some coordination to those. I think it would be good. We got Matt Topper.
Hey, y'all. Hey, Matt.
Hi, Matt.
Hey.
And I think we're all like starving for social interaction. Like I just when you put this stream on, I was like, okay, I'm so in. I haven't talked to anyone besides my family and my coworkers for like 3 or 4 months.
It's look, man. I just now hop on like any Zoom call offer. It's like, you want to? Yes, I'll hop on a Zoom call. I just please. Like, I don't care. We'll talk about anything. You want to talk about The Bachelor? Sure. Let's talk about The Bachelor. I don't even watch it. I don't care. Like, yeah, it is. This. I think if anything else, I think this has taught me how much social creatures as human beings we really are, man. Like it. I don't care if you're introverted or not. Like at some point, you just you want to connect with somebody else. It's like,
yep, absolutely.
Yeah, it's crazy, like how much you miss just like being able to walk up and shake hands or hug somebody, and like you're just like, guy, hey, things. I will say, for those in the identity world, Hutch's virtual Bluebird every 2 weeks has been pretty awesome to join. So he sends that out every couple of weeks, but that's been really good for the folks in the identity community just to get together and shoot the S every week or every other week.
okay.
Yeah, I think I've always missed those. I don't know. They're on ID Pro or somewhere else?
Check Hutch's Twitter stream. Every other Wednesday night.
Just ping Twitter, Identity Hutch.
I've tried really hard to avoid Twitter my entire professional life, and now I see it's coming back to me.
I'm sure that if you ping Hutch through ID Pro, as you said, because everyone is on ID Pro, then you will get the info for that.
Cool. I'll follow up.
What is? Okay, I'm trying to make sure somebody just locked themselves out of the house. Telling you.
So, guys, it was nice to see you again. I hope that we will have the opportunity soon to do that in physical and more real life. Form. But thanks again for all of this, and let's do that again. Chat on those topics that are exchanged onto Identiverse. I hope that other people will take your lead on how to do such things, because that's the main feedback I got from Identiverse so far is where is the Q&A after
mm-hmm. After the conference is done, they just like closes immediately. You're like, wow.
So yeah, this part of the conference where we just circle around the speaker and we won't let him leave without giving information and things like that. So
yeah, I'll you know what? I'll send the feedback back to Andy. I think he follows. I mean, I got this streaming to my Twitter page, so if he sees it. But yeah, I think if it'd be cool, like if the different speakers, if they can, like just open up a chat afterwards, and or we just maybe have like ID Pro or Identiverse, like just host a Zoom or something like that or whatever. I think again, like anything to try and recreate just that. It's the after presentation experience, right? Like that's the one thing I think that's a lot of people realize when they move to this virtual format is that while all the planning goes into the sessions and putting together the decks, and that's great, and that's a lot of work. Most of us get a lot of the information out of the conference from the stuff that happens in the middle, all the stuff that's hard to just like, it's not planned, it's not whatever, right? And while we can't like go out after this and go grab beers or whatever, we probably could at least like set up some breakout rooms and stuff like that. So like I said, I'll do this. I'm going to be looking at different sessions over the next couple of weeks, and I'll just I'll put this up and post it out, and like, hey, I just went to this. What'd you guys think? Or whoever went to it, and try and get some of that. So maybe I can slowly nudge some of the identity rodder to do the same thing, like get Ian or somebody like that to set something up, because I think this will help add to it. So.
Absolutely.
Great.
Cool.
All right,
I gotta get going.
Yeah, sure. There are other sessions to attend.
I'm
running to the other side of the conference room.
All right.
All right. Bye, guys.
All right.
See you guys. See you soon.
Man.
What's up, sir?
What's up, man?
How's the world going?
You know what? I got no complaints, man. Like, other than being trapped in my house, like,
Yeah.
life's good. I can't complain, man. Like, this is cool.
Yeah.
So it was it was fun kind of getting ready for the whole Identiverse thing. Like, I made a tweet earlier. It's like, I just want to see everybody's home office setup. And I want to see if it's as cluttered as mine was. Probably not. Like, it's like I saw some people that are like very professional.
Oh, yeah.
Weird. I was like, oh, look at that. I was like, yeah, I wasn't gonna do that. I'm just like,
I keep the camera nice and tight, and anything beyond the edges here is back to the ceilings.
exactly. There's a whole pile of stuff like right past this edge, which you can't see. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was funny. I had to when I was recording mine. So initially, I've got like, this is my main big desktop, and I've got like my laptop, and so I usually have it. I do it that way. One, because the light's better, because the window's right there, and I have this nice tight view of just like my desk, which makes it look really professional. But then this way, it's like everything else. It was like I had like paintings hanging there. I had to move the piano. I was like, oh my god! And this one is the one that's plugged in like directly into the Ethernet, so I was getting a better connection. I was like, freak. Okay. I was like, let's do some more. Let me try and clean up my office. Although I'm not gonna really clean it up, I'm just gonna throw stuff around. Make sure.
Right.
Oh man, but yeah. So you and first of all, like, shout out to you and Justin for putting together like the calendar thing, man. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, Justin did all the coding, and luckily I've got a smart team behind me that can very quickly take that code, throw it up on AWS, and host it for everyone. So
right.
Yeah, it came together like really quick within 24 hours. So
nice.
It worked obviously quite well for everybody. Just the virtual format right now, it's tough to keep everything on track, man. Right? We got 2 months of this coming.
Yeah, but I think one of the cool things about it is, like, I think it's a perfect time to like just adapt. Like, that's the other thing. Like, even though it's like 2 weeks, so the thing we get to do is like, all right, how'd the first week go? Oh, this, we heard this, and you can just like, the presentation's already recorded, or I don't know if everybody's recorded yet, but you can kind of like adapt it on the fly. So I think that's pretty cool. Like, I think for this, we're gonna learn a lot about running conferences and how to do this, because I don't think hate to say it, but I don't think the virtual thing is going to go away anytime soon, right? We're going to slowly, kind of get back into, doing more. Like, I just don't think like by next year, like, we're going to be like, okay, everything's over. Let's go back to RSA, 100,000 people all in one. Like, because even now, dude, when I go out, it's kind of like you look at everybody like the outbreak monkey. It's like, hey, what's up?
Right. And I just feel like you kind of want to wear like a 6 foot wide hula hoop. Like, I got my bubble.
I don't think it's going to go away anytime soon, right?
No.
So I think we're going to still kind of have portions of this or whatever. So it's cool for us to kind of figure it out.
And I think, honestly, it's a great opportunity for those that will never get the funding from the organizations they work for to do the travel, right? Like, the travel alone to the RSA world, anyways, RSA and Identiverse, right? All those conferences, it's $4 or $5 grand for an organization to put up on top of the conference fees. There's a lot of orgs that just won't invest $8 to $10 grand in their people to go to a conference, which is crazy, but the reality.
Yeah. Yeah. So this definitely, this definitely changed that. But it's also like, now all of a sudden it's free. Like, the other business model for the conference is like, crap, like, how do we do that? But granted, they don't have to pay for like the bookings and all this stuff, whatever. So we'll figure it out. So,
yeah.
So the going question for this one has been like, what's a session that you're looking forward to seeing? So far, we got 2 votes for Ian. Everybody always listens to Ian talk because he always has one that's always interesting, but he's always funny. He's got something in there. But I'm really interested in that one because it's just, I've been getting that question a lot. Like, hey, what's the future of identity, right? And I think more so in the last like year, like, and not just a general question. Like, people were like, where are we really going? But yeah, what other sessions have you looked at that you're like?
To be honest, I haven't even looked yet. Things have been so insanely crazy. I just have not had time to even pull up the sessions. I saw Ian's pop up, and yeah, I get the same stuff all the time right now is, hey, what's next for identity, right? We finally said the walls don't work anymore, right? The firewalls don't work anymore. So you guys are the point for everything.
Right.
you got to friggin' innovate. Let's go. Right? And I don't think moving to the cloud's making it any easier, right? Everyone's got their own special flavor of how to secure their different cloud environment and the platforms that run on top of them. So,
right. Yeah, and I think the focus there. So while it's very interesting, right? Like the cloud is just the same problem we've solved before. It's just abstracted from the rest of the team, right? So now your organization doesn't have these problems. Somebody else's organization does, and everything that I've looked at from their identity is focused on infrastructure identity, right? So it's like, okay, that's great, but we're still deploying these apps on top of this infrastructure that we have to manage that identity for, and that area hasn't been well planned out, right? Or it's
not at all, right?
And so with this kind of the ramp up that we've seen for everybody wanting to move to cloud, like that's why, like I was talking to Kaiser was on early, Mike Kaiser was on earlier, and I'm just like, everybody else is saying, in the next 5 years of Frozen, we all love the number 5. But I'm just like, I don't think like 5 years is going to be too late. Like I think like the rate at which we're going, like we're going to innovate a whole lot faster than that. Like, so I really think that identity is like, I'm looking at the 2-year mark, like it's the industry has kind of plateaued. We've matured a lot of things. And so now it's right at that point for disruption or innovation, like one of those two. And it's usually both of them, right? Somebody comes in and looks at something and says, if I build it with everything I know today, how would I do it? And they start kind of really changing it. So I think we're right around there, kind of watching what's going to happen. But I also think a lot of it's going to have to happen, because I'm just like, there's no, at the rate that people have their stuff in the cloud, right? Like at some point, some auditor is going to come in and say, hey, so show me how you remember all that stuff that you did before. How are you doing it here?
Right.
Well, kind of. Look, it's in the cloud, right? Like,
Right.
So at some point, like those questions are going to have to be answered, and I think that's the area that we've got a lot of work going forward on. So it'd be interesting to see if everybody addresses that in the next 8 weeks. I haven't looked at all the agenda either. Because I was still in typical Identiverse mode. I was like, oh, okay, I saw some stuff, and I was like, oh, I'll just figure everything else out when I get there. And then there was no there, and then
where you just look throughout the day because you're there and not fully engaged in your job all day, right? And be like, oh, this one looks good. This one looks good. Yeah, that plan ahead, book time on my calendar because I'm sitting at home just has not like up until like 2 o'clock yesterday, I forgot it had even started this week, to be blatantly honest.
if it wasn't for me, like when I did my recording, if I didn't put a calendar invite on my calendar for the day, remember it, like I would have, because I totally I wanted to see Richard Burns talk, and I totally forgot about it. I was like, oh crap, Identiverse is going on. And I was like, so I just saw somewhere, I forgot where, I don't know if it was Slack or something, that they're on demand like a little bit afterwards. So I'll go back and kind of watch them.
Yeah.
It's I don't know, man. It's interesting. It's cool. But like I said, hopefully we can get people to start doing more of these and kind of getting some sessions together. Like I want to, you know what? Actually, some company. So all the vendors, everybody watch this and retweet it. Let's get somebody, like, just open up like a huge, Zoom webinar and just have everybody come in and hang out. Like during the week of Identiverse. So we got I'm showing like each week is sponsored by somebody. So here you go, marketing folks. Free tips, free advice that you can take with a grain of salt. You don't listen. But just open up a Zoom or something like that after your session, whatever, how people come in, jump in, bring in some, you can bring in your salespeople, your SEs or whatever, kind of, stump the chump type of thing. I think that would be really, really cool to try to get, again, this interaction piece to it. So look at that, man. I'm just full of ideas. This is golden. Just give this stuff away for free.
I got a couple of weeks before my session goes live, so I know what I'm doing. I got plenty of time to prepare at this point.
It's gonna be all nice and laid out. Like it's gonna be promo video. Like
Star Trek intros and scrolling screens. The best stuff.
That would be awesome, though. But yeah, man. So other than that, man, that's it. I think I'm gonna shut her down here because I get kind of hungry. So I'm gonna make some lunch.
Go get some lunch, sir. We'll chat soon.
It's good to see you, man.
For sure. Need to do it more often.
We do. I gotta. You know what? I'm gonna start the Hutch thing. I'm gonna start paying attention to that and put it on the calendar. It's funny, even though I'm not in corporate life anymore. Like, if it's not on my calendar, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So I'm just
We're
like
conditioned, right?
I'm so conditioned. It's like, hey, what's supposed to do this? It's like, was it on the calendar? It didn't happen. You can't prove it happened because it wasn't on the calendar. So I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not late to anything because it wasn't on the calendar. It didn't happen.
All righty, sir. We'll talk soon.
See you soon. All right. We're signing off, everybody. This is live from Identiverse. I'll try and do these more often over the next 8 weeks and just have different people on, talk random stuff identity. And till then, stay safe. Take care. Later.